Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. If you guys could not only subscribe here, that's cool. If you guys are just stopping by, that's cool too. But also check out the Tobin and Leroy show, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Appreciate you guys. So we have a date and a time set. The Pat Riley end-of-season press conference is set for Friday at 1 o'clock. We'll be boots on the ground for that one, as Pat Riley will assess and address this season that ended in absolute catastrophe, with the Miami Heat getting the doors blown off them by a team that's currently down 0-2 to the Indiana Pacers, and Tyrese Halliburton taking their soul in their building. Absolutely nuts. I talked about this a little bit on the radio show today about Tyrese Halliburton. I was comparing, because Tyrese Halliburton and Tyler Hero came up together, and I think the trajectories of their careers are pretty fascinating. I don't want to do a double down because I want to talk about Pat here, but I'll link that segment. It's about 15 minutes. If you guys are into some more Heat content, you guys can get our thoughts on that as far as Tyler Hero becoming the Heat's version of Tyrese Halliburton. And that's all well and good. But it's going to be interesting to hear what Pat Riley has to say about the Miami Heat and this season. So I'm coming off of the loss right now of the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have just gone down 0-2 to the New York Knicks, which is like, this is a house money team petty watch series, because it's like, well, it's either Knicks misery or Celtics misery, but the dichotomy of that is, well, it's also Knicks joy or Celtics joy. And right now it's going to be a very annoying 48 hours for everybody, because New York Knicks are going to be never more delusional that they are going to the Eastern Conference Finals, which they might. They have gone and taken the first two games on Boston's floor, which is not a very hard place to play. At least it hasn't been for the Heat. But, hey, listen, neither are the Heats. I mean, they've lost 8 straight in their building in the playoffs. But the New York Knicks are now going up 2-0. Jason Tatum stunk tonight. He's getting the business. The Jays are getting the business. They deserve it, because they've done nothing but whine since winning the championship, which came with a ton of caveats and injuries. And I do have to wonder, I don't want to bring it back to my age-old question, where everybody says I tore apart the organization, which I don't appreciate. But as Pat Riley sits there tonight sipping his tequila, and he's watching the Boston Celtics do what they did, and Jimmy Butler for the Warriors is now going to be at the head of the helm, because Steph Curry looks like he is going to maybe be out the rest of the series. Who knows? He's going to miss at least the next 3 games for the Golden State Warriors. And so it's going to be in his hands to take on this franchise that he lit on fire originally, his OG make-a-stink team. And I have to wonder if this is the end of the road for the Celtics, right? The people say that Celtics changes are coming. And if this is the end of the road to the Celtics, it does take me back to last year, and it does take me to the play-in with Nick Batum hitting all those threes, and Jimmy Butler ended up getting hurt. Now, mind you, the Heat wouldn't have ended up facing this, obviously, if they would have won that game. But even the way that it happened, if Jimmy Butler never would have gotten hurt, and they would have ended up seeing the Celtics later on in the playoffs, right? And Jimmy had the whole thing, we're going to go up 2-1, and, Boston would be home, New York would be home. And the thing that's interesting about it is we've gotten mad about it, and Pat obviously didn't like it because he was frustrated with Jimmy getting hurt again and just what the year was, which is seemed like a frustrating mix for everything, even though a lot of it wasn't on Jimmy. I mean, Tyler was hurt that year. Terry Rozier had the neck injury after trading for him. The Kyle thing was a bit dramatic. Duncan Robinson went out with the back. Like, it wasn't just Jimmy Butler headaches last year. I'm talking about the year, the last platform. I'm not talking about this year where everything, became a time bomb. And, man, it is still tough to not think about the what if. Like, it's tougher because it's not like Goran blowing up his foot in the finals because you're in the finals. But, man, that was Boston. The Heat were their arch nemesis. And Jimmy Butler was their boogeyman. And they just got a hall pass last year on not getting to face him. And I don't know how you don't think. I reminisce about like, man, I don't know how you don't think if he didn't get hurt. I know it's delusional and you don't always want to think, hey, you go through the route of the play-in. However, and I know some of Boston is banged up now too, but boo-hoo, that happens. Hey, well, Boston, welcome to playoff basketball. Your stars get hurt sometimes. It happens. Go tell the Warriors, go tell the Heat, go tell the Cavaliers, go tell any team over the last 10 years. Guess what? Some teams are going to lose their important players. Giannis Antetokounmpo dealing with it. You're not special. Like, everybody's had to deal with it, okay? It's just your turn. The bill is due. But I do wonder. I'm not going to double down and ask him again because obviously that's stupid. But I just wonder if I could ever get him a side in a trust tree moment. If we could sip tequila together, me and the Godfather. And I'd ask him like, yeah, but you didn't think like that could have worked out? And then now you see him this year. It's like, people are acting like, this team was never going to be stopped. Jason Tatum was begging all of us, I am the face of the league. It's like, I don't know, dude. I don't think you are. You were like the fourth most important Celtic last year, and then you paraded that stupid trophy around in our city when you didn't even play us in the finals. Very weird. But anyway, these are just my musings of this series and whatnot. But getting back to Pat. So Pat's going to talk. I apologize for the rambling. Pat's going to talk on Friday. And I think there's a few things that are very interesting, right? I don't want to predict questions because I think we all know what the questions are going to be. But what do I think he's going to say? I don't think he's going to retire, right? I don't think so. I felt like this would have gone longer if he didn't. Even though it's a perfect, I was looking up today. I was wondering, I was like, why is Pat taking so long? I looked up today all the teams that got bounced in the playoffs, and like half of the presidents of basketball operations and or GMs spoke, and half of them didn't. And the ones that didn't, to be fair, I think the ones that spoke were Lakers, Magic. Let me get my list. I have it. I don't know why I'm guessing. I just have it on my phone. Because I looked this up, and I was like, man, is Pat taking forever to talk? All right, so here are the teams that were eliminated. Grizzlies, Zach Kleiman. He spoke. Lakers, Rob Pelinka. He spoke. Rockets, Raphael Stone. He spoke. Magic, Jeff Waltman. He spoke. The Pistons, GM, Trajan Langdon. He did not. They got eliminated 5 days ago. John Horst, from what I can see, has not spoken. They got eliminated a week ago. And the Clippers GM did not speak, but they got eliminated 4 days ago. So it's like half and half for those who were looking to keep score. But I was like, all right, when's he going to get the note today? He's talking at 1 o'clock on Friday, right? So I want to know, I think what people want to know, right? People want to know what's Pat's future? How long is he going to be around? I don't think he's going to step down. I don't think. I thought there were parts of me that thought going into this year, this could be his last year. I just think that Pat's got such a not going out like that mentality, a la D Wade. I just can't see him going out like on a season like this. Though, most of the time in sports, you go out ugly. That's most of the time. Not very rare are the times you get to go out on a high note. It's not very common. So I'm just going to say the odds are he's going to be back. I don't think he's going to retire. But what I want to hear from him is, and I think what the fan base wants to hear from Pat, whether he feels it or not, I think they want to hear him have a little bit of accountability. I think that that's an important thing here because he's going to be asked about it. As much as people say, hey, the guys don't ask the question, I think that's, first of all, I think that's horseshit. I think that's not true. I think that the reporters do a good job who cover the team. I don't think you necessarily have to be confrontational to do your job well. I think sometimes that actually can really lean against you, and you can still get good stuff out of guys. Because I think one of the things that's an interesting trick, guys, about being in the media, and especially with Pat Riley, because I've gotten chances to interact in press conferences. I've gotten one-on-one in my career with Pat Riley. And I got a really good money quote out of Pat Riley. Had nothing to do with anything that I asked him. Because Pat Riley's going to say what Pat Riley wants to say. You know? Because sometimes he's just in that mood. You know? He'll say it if he wants to say it, or maybe you can lead him down a valley. You can lead him down a road. But I do think the fan base wants to hear accountability from Pat. When I say accountability, I do think there has to be a little bit of the front office misinterpreted their relationship with Jimmy Butler, which, yes, Jimmy can take some blame for, and Bernie Lee can take some blame for sure. But I also think they got to play their part in it, how they made it so adversarial, how did it get here, and then just take the Jimmy stuff aside. Not ever doing enough to get over the finish line when they were so close. I think accountability needs to be taken there by Pat. I think that will go a long way. I think it's an important thing to hear from the organization. You know, like I think Spo was asked to like rate his performance. He's like, I'm not going to do that. You know, but he's like, because I would have liked to know, like, well, Spo, like, what do you truly feel? I think it is important for the Heat to give on the record. Where do they think they're at right now? Why Pat thinks there's still a destination to get players. I think that's been a big thing that's been questioned. Why does he think that? I'm sure there's going to be some about his ways. I think that, like, Paul, I saw Kevin Garnett say that stuff about the ways stuff, about the way Pat Riley goes about his business. I actually don't think that's something that has to be defended. I understand the whole keep the mouth shut thing, and I'm not trying to deflect here for any personal stuff on that. And I'm not like no bit on it. I genuinely, don't think the way the Heat run their organization is scaring off players. I don't think that's true. I honestly think it's been one of the dumbest things that I've heard from people who don't know the organization, who just got to throw a broad thing out there and say things like Pat Riley has to step down. I think it's stupid. Because the reason we are in this spot is really a case of the Heat took away already extra perks on what they were already giving Jimmy Butler. They were letting him get all of the star stuff. Maybe with LeBron, but the stuff with LeBron that's come out with Dwayne Wade, guys, it was 10, 11 years ago. And he did change. That was the whole point. But the one thing in all of sports that has nothing to do with the Heat or anybody specific is when it comes to paying stars and when you need to know, like, when is the time we pay them? When do we stop paying them? It's always going to be a contentious relationship. That's going to be whether Pat runs the organization, Eric Spoelstra runs the organization, Dwayne Wade runs the organization, Zoe, Andy, Ellisberg, whomever. If they get to a point, Bam is 35 years old, and he's going to come around for who knows what NBA players are going to make at that time. His $80 million a year extension. And they're going to be like, nah, Bam. It might end badly with him. And he is the most Heat guy through and through there's been. You know what I mean? So I don't think there needs to be any defense of the ways Pat Riley does his business, because I think that's an overstated thing from the national media. I think that's stupid. I think it's been a waste of time. So I think he needs to take accountability for just doing not enough with the team that was close and getting beat out on trades and letting your rivals make improvements. That needs accountability. How he goes about his business, how he runs his organization, his culture, his ways, that doesn't need to be defended. That doesn't need to be defended. It's stupid. It's a waste of time. And I honestly would find it a waste of time as a media member and a fan of the organization to hear that. I don't need to hear that. I like how the Heat do their business. I like it. It's just, it needs to be a thing. It's like D-Wade said, you either do it or you either do it all the way or don't do it. Don't half-ass Heat culture. Don't half-ass the way you go about your business and what you ask from your players. It's either it's a thing or it's not. You either have a thing that makes you different, and you appreciate it and you love it, that it can nurture guys who maybe other people overlooked, I still think they're doing a good job of that. I think their scouting department has been unbelievably good. Doesn't work all the time. Sometimes there's whiffs. Sometimes you think you have a perfect guy and it doesn't work out. Justice Winslow, Jaime Jaquez. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe Jaime will bounce back. I'm not, writing the bit on that yet. So I want to hear from Pat accountability on where the organization is right now and how they got here. Why players would want to come here. And I really don't want a lot of spin on players. And I'm not saying he has to rip players. So I'm not saying he has to go call out everybody under the sun. I think they would probably do better by not doing that. But I do think there needs to be a true assessment of, hey, what is Bam? What is Tyler? What is Jaime? What is Nico? What is Kalel? What is Andrew Wiggins going to do with the future? That's always a poker game with him because he loves to you have to wonder, is that a trade leverage injury? Pat, none of that stuff has mattered, dude. You haven't made the trades anyway. There's no need to do this dance. I think it's better just to have it out there. What do you really think these guys are? What do you think Bam is? How important is he? What's his ceiling? What's his role need to be on a championship team? Same goes for Tyler Hero. And I think, and I'm kind of fascinated by this, I'd like to know, and I don't know if you'll get a true answer on this. I don't. But I'd like to know from him. So I want accountability, why this is a destination, true assessment of your players. This is my wish list. And finally, a true assessment of his coach. You gave that guy one of the richest contracts in coaching. What's your assessment of him been with this whole situation? Maybe it's great. Maybe he loves the way that he's run it. Some say that he should be the heir apparent. I can't even say that I disagree. I think Eric Spoelstra's probably earned that right to be the top dog one day. I think he's grinded. Whether it be him, whether it be Andy Ellsberg, whoever. I know all those guys are lifers. But I think it is good. Since Spo doesn't want to assess or grade his year, he doesn't want to give a grade to the media. Let's hear what Pat Riley has to say about that. I'd be curious to hear that as well. So I think those are the main things that I want to hear from Pat Riley. Along with the obvious, the future, accountability, why you're a destination, true assessment of your key players, true assessment of your coach. Not Pat speak. Not Riles putting the Riles spin on it. I don't know if anybody really needs a call out. And people are going to say, oh, don't you want to hear about the Jimmy stuff? Of course. You do. But I think that almost goes into the accountability bucket for me. I think that there's because someone's going to ask, hey, do you regret the way that last year came off? Let's all blame Tobin. That's fine. But I think we know. I don't need to know that. I'm going to, it's not like I'm not, if he says it, I'm going to react to it on radio shows and YouTube, of course. But to me, the damage is done there already. Right? I'm trying to figure out where this organization is going to go, not where they've been. But I think the one part of knowing where they've been that you need to know is hey, why didn't you guys find avenues to do more? So it's going to be fascinating. I think it is going to be a fascinating press. I don't know if it's going to be as fireworky as the last one because I don't know that there's. What's the big drama? Tyler's extension. Whatever, in today's, it's am I going to be, because it's, for me, it's like this. It's Tyler's 25 years old, going to be 26. If they give Tyler Hero the extension, good for Tyler, man. I got no ill will on it. But if they don't, I get it. That's kind of where I'm at with that one. I really, I don't feel like I have to have a hard stance on it one way or the other. My lean, I think I told you this originally, was I think I'd wait. I think I would have him see what he can do, see if they build a playoff run. I think some of it will depend on what the roster's going to be like too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Friday. I think all of Heat Nation is.